Hey, we're back on the show all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. And I'm joined by returning guest. That's Laura Catrambone-Gerace. She is a real estate agent with Coldwell Banker Stafford Place. And Laura is the relationship guru because she takes pride in building relationships and really getting to know her clients and the community. Laura, welcome back to Get Down to Business. Thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So let's start right there. You and I have had this conversation a little bit in the past, but I want to make sure our listeners know there's a lot of real estate agents out there. Let's call it what it is. But there's something, Laura, that makes you unique, and that is, again, your involvement in community. I'm going to start with the way I'm going to end as well, which is you have an AOL email address, and you wear that with pride, don't you?
Oh my God, excuse me, I do. I know my kids make fun of me. They're like, get a Gmail, but you know what? It was my first email address, and I'm sticking with it.
And your clients know you by that email address, and we'll share it. We'll share it with our listeners in a couple of minutes. Your clients know it, and again, you've been building relationships in the real estate world, helping families for so long. Laura, let's talk about that. How long have you been in business, and where are the markets that you serve?
So 33 plus years I've been in business. Um, I think I've told you this story before, but I never wanted to sell. My cousin was a realtor, and she and my father and her best friend opened up an office, and she told me to go that she wanted me to be a realtor. And I said, why would I do that? I don't like salespeople. And she said, just shut up and go get your license. And I did. And of course, it was the best thing I ever did. And like I've said a million times, I'm not a salesperson. I just know what to do when you want to buy a house or you want to sell, and that's the key. I was just with a family that I had met through another, a referral. And they had been working with another agent. And after about me going through 4 houses with them, the mom said to me, she goes, I knew the moment I saw you, I was going to like you. But she goes, now I really like you. And the reason is because I walk in the houses and I tell them what I don't like. I'm like, okay, these windows are horrible. This kitchen is ugly. They're obvious things. But some salespeople are like, oh, well, and not that you can't tell them what they can do. You can say, well, you can change this or change that in the kitchen or whatever. But the point is that some people don't even point that stuff out. They just
Absolutely.
want to buy a house, and that's just not how I work.
Laura, I mean, summing up our conversation now and what your reputation certainly precedes you is that you take every listing and you take ownership of it. It's not something that if there's a house that's out there, it's would you want to be there? Would you want a family member to be there? And that's both on the buying and selling side. So, Laura, I know that obviously you are in the Chicago market. I believe your office is in Westchester, but you certainly help folks from around the area. Can you? I know our listeners always love to hear success stories, people that you've been able to help along the way, and feel free to do it anonymously. We don't need to get into people's lives, but your phone rings off the hook with folks that are relying on you for real estate needs, buying and selling. Where do you service? And again, can you share any good news stories, because we need good news these days?
Oh, you're not kidding. So mostly the western suburbs, DuPage and Cook County. So, as far as, I go far, but my area of concentration is, maybe as far as Wheaton or so. And I do some in the city too. The city's like a whole different world. So I do it, but uh, it's like I said, it's a different world. It's hard to explain. And let me see a success story. That one I have to really think about. I guess I could go with I got a good one. So this woman, I have been working with her for probably 7 years because She started looking for property. Her husband, unfortunately, had a terrible accident, and she had cared for him and whatever. Well, he ended up passing, and she got a huge settlement or whatever. And she called me back, and she was so cute. She goes, "I told you I'd buy from you." Um, so I got her house, and then her son, he needed a condo, and we got him his, and it was a long, it was a drawn out process because we were buying a foreclosure, and the foreclosure bank that we were dealing with was just a nightmare. But we finally just closed that. It was like 2.5 months to close a cash deal on a $125,000 condo, which makes no sense. Anybody who sells real estate knows that that should close in 2 weeks and shouldn't be a big deal. But, held her hand, got her through it. And she was very sweet at the end. She goes, you're always there just saying it's going to be okay. So people need that, you know.
People absolutely need that. Again, I'm chatting with Laura Catrambone-Gerace from Caldwell Banker in Stafford Place in Westchester, Illinois. And Laura, we have time for just another 2-3 minutes over here. And I know something that everybody's talking about right now is we have this conversation in mid-October. We're officially in Q4 of the calendar year of 2023, which is wild. The weather maybe is starting to get a little bit cooler, and this is an interesting time in the Chicagoland market in the Chicagoland area. You've seen the ups and downs of these past few years, the ups and downs of 2023 alone. When I said we need good news, I wasn't kidding. But is there good news in the real estate market? What's that crystal ball telling you?
So, there really is. I know the interest rates are they're high. They're high for what people are used to. But I bought my first house that was 11%, and that was a good rate. So you got to put things in perspective. But I do think all the gurus that are way smarter than me are saying that it's going to happen, that the interest rates are going to come down. And I've already seen the market starting to get a little bit more inventory. Your buyers are still out there. And, I think 2024 is going to be a great year for real estate.
I love it. 2024 is going to be a great year for real estate. It's coming from, again, the queen of real estate, the person that every one of our listeners needs to call, whether you're thinking of buying and selling, certainly in the western suburbs of Chicago, but just in general, really an all around great person and to talk to for all of your real estate needs. An incredible reputation, and been doing this for again almost 34 years, since 1989. Didn't know that she wanted to get into this, but as Laura Catrambone-Gerace has said, best decision that's ever been made. Laura, I want to give you the final word. Any tips, advice, anything that you want our listeners to know as it relates to real estate? And of course, how can they get in touch with you?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, this is what I will say. you know, People think like buying and selling a house is no big deal. I could do it on my own. I don't care if you don't call me. I would love it if you called me, but definitely use a professional. Don't do it on your own. It's one of the biggest investments you'll ever make in your life. I mean, people don't buy stocks on their own. They certainly shouldn't buy a house on their own or sell. Same thing. And anybody who would like to talk to me about anything real estate, my number is 708-212-4905.
And can you share that amazing AOL email address with us?
S like Sam, P like Peter, SP Laura, LAURA at AOL.com.
Well, Laura, thank you so much for all you do for the Chicagoland market, and of course, just for being a great resource to get down to business and all of our listeners. Encourage all of our listeners to get in touch with the one and only Laura Catrambone-Gerace. And again, can't wait to have you back on again real soon, Laura. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And just before we cut to the headlines, commercials, and a quick break, of course, we've got a lot more small business jobs and entrepreneurship. I did want to give say a small mention of what we've been hearing in the news over the past few days. We've all been hearing, following, and praying, frankly, for the for the victims of the terror in Israel. And what I always recommend on this program is I'm a practical kind of guy. And I think that we need more education. I think we need more goodness in the world. We've been talking about that over the past few minutes. Encourage all of our listeners to visit the Illinois Holocaust Museum and Education Center. At this time, we need to take history to heart. We need to take a stand for humanity. Visit their website, ilholocaustmuseum.org. It's in Skokie, Illinois, and really is a great place to bring your family, bring your students, bring your colleagues. We need, again, more light and more goodness in the world. And I'll leave you with that note. Always get in touch with me, syklein.com, if you want to discuss. Quick break. We'll be right back.